We are live. Hey, welcome everybody. We're thrilled to have you join us the exclusive reveal of the Sales Efficiency Report 2025. We created that one in partnership with Craftview, with SalesPlaybook, CREATEQ, and of course our partners, for example, HubSpot for startups. Hey, it was a really long journey, but here we are, and here we cover today what is actually going on in the market. So we'll share some first look benchmark data. We share some actionable AI use cases. And yeah, maybe hopefully also some CRM strategies you can apply. We have three parts. The first one is the results, like what is condensed in the report. The second one is the real world examples. So Manuel and me will show some use cases which today's strategy allows. And then the third one, after like 30, 40 minutes, is a Q&A. So please start asking your question, react, give us your smileys, give us your thumbs up or whatever you find in the tool. And also try to ask the questions already now so we can prepare and upvote that we in the end have a roundtable discussion with the experts, use the chance to talk to the founders and authors of this report. Yeah, so quick introduction. We have here Manuel, who is the CEO of SalesPlaybook, and he's scaling B2B SaaS in DACH since many, many years. SalesPlaybook, he grew to 7-figure revenue in a very short time, helped a lot of entrepreneurs. I think it's more than 300-400 to achieve this 0 to 10 million ARR profitability. Hey, and yeah, I think if I talk about sales, then Manuel is always somewhere on the stage. We have Florian, who is the COO of SalesPlaybook, and he's the execution machine. He wrote a lot of books and reports and dove into those analysis. So, and also to help a lot of B2B startups and helps accelerating them. And yeah, also the brain behind the platform, which combines knowledge, coaching, offering, and talent from SalesPlaybook. Then we have Valentin, my business partner in crime from Pedalix originally, but now head of SaaS product at Craftview. Valentin, you provide business management solutions and tools for SME, and so you combine a lot of software in this construction area and put one platform out there. So you as a head of product has the challenge to bring everything together. But otherwise, you have 20 years expertise in building and scaling startups, and some are very, very known, like Tracksoft or startups, .ch or Pedalix, which you grew from 0 to rocket. And yeah, myself, I'm currently in the position as a Chief Commercial Officer at CREATEQ, where we build and operate software engineering teams. So we have these subscription models with more than 300 software engineers at 7 locations in Eastern Europe and Northern Africa. And I'm also a tech founder. I built 9 startups, all in the area of B2B SaaS or B2B marketing and sales. So I was in the intersection of product management and automation and AI since many, many years. Yeah, tickling with machine learning since 2012. But now let's talk sales efficiency. So at the moment we see it's not just about fixing automation silos. It's really some challenge out there because it always needs a strategy. How do you apply those modern technologies? The market is changing a lot. And yeah, the tools alone, they won't cut it. So you also need some software engineering power, some product management, and that's why Valentin and me are presenting this part. But it's also, you need a really clear ICP, you need funnels, you need workflows, and it's just not built by themselves. And as long as the AI agents won't take it over all day, it's all up to us to build this strategy. And this is also why SalesPlaybook helps to set up the strategy. It's about pipeline generation, it's about revenue enablement, it's about HubSpot services. That's definitely the part which Florian and Manuel cover. Hey, and now let's dive into the why of the report. Let's have a look at the findings. And I would like, before handing over quickly to Manuel, also point out there was a huge change in the market, and this led us to do this report, to analyze these 271 companies and to find out what's changing at the moment. But maybe, Manuel, you can give a little bit of a pep talk. Why are we doing this? Because the market has changed, obviously. This customer acquisition cost exploded, AI tools are everywhere. But can you give us a quick summary, like what's going on in the market? You are like hands-on in the sales market. So like 2 minutes and then we know everything.
In 60 seconds, right? I just discussed it for 60 minutes with Sylvain Crembill from Swisspreneur yesterday. I think like the fundamental shift we see is really on like, it's all about scaling, not destroying trust. And AI is not helpful, right? More tools are not helpful on that. And what we witness is customer acquisition costs go up, sales velocity slows down, like people struggle to take informed decisions because they took purchasing decisions, especially with startups in tech the past 4 years. It didn't live up to adoption expectations, didn't create the enterprise value it should. So you can pitch all that you want in 2025 and you can add more people, but it's not helpful. It's actually, you probably need less people, less go-to-market motions, like less different ideal customer profiles, and more focus on creating and scaling trust and investing into distributing your message and like nailing that down. And really go investing into a buyer journey versus a sales push emotion and rolling this up your inbox. And some of the worst trends we see are like AI comments on LinkedIn, which you see from a mile away. I now get like 4 cold calendar invites, like 6 to 10 p.m. into my calendar on how to scale with AI. And like, this is like how I live, right? Like who gave you permission to invade my personal calendar? And I think it's a true trust crisis out there that like, just trust me, I'm a sales rep, it doesn't work. And it's also ended up like with the venture capital craze, with like a lot of money that a lot of people have been hired who cannot be successful in today's environment. Like a 23-year-old SDR is not a bad human being, but that person cannot generate weighted pipeline for a 6-figure annual contract value complex enterprise solution. You just need to do more with less, so you probably need to scale down a bit on headcount, and you need to accelerate like your journey to product market fit. AI can be tremendously helpful, and happy to share hands-on examples around costs of inaction, around case study writing and so on. Really like hands-on, but it's often applied in the wrong ways, right? To destroy trust instead of scale it, and instead of like helping you do the things you would as a human do, but better and faster. I hope that was okay, like roughly 2 minutes. Happy to help with any questions on that.
Thank you for the handover to, you mentioned the weapon of mass destruction, basically, when you use AI the wrong way. But let's dive into how are companies using these weapons today and what we find out. So we go to the report insight, we open up the sales efficiency report study, and I quickly guide you through the main chapters here. And make sure that we have the focus on the slides. Okay, so the first findings I have here, maybe as a precondition. So we analyzed 271 B2B companies, which were part of 80 in the pre-study. So we did pre-study, what topics are relevant. We defined their dimensions, like which categories we need to reflect on. And then in the longer study, with more than 20 questions for these dimensions, we got 191 B2B companies responding in the last half year. So we have now these 271 as a, let's say a market overview. This is our significant part, and it's mainly DACH, but a few also from outside of DACH region. So for the first result, if I dive into the dimension number 1, I always explain quickly the dimension, what it is and how we structured it, and then what was the result. So in average, from 100% score, people scored with 56% in terms of how developed they are in this pipeline generation. And if I divine this connect part, it's about the focus on building a strong ICP, on building a strong target account list, a database. But it also includes market segmentation. Have you got an all-bound strategy, so inbound and outbound combined? And do you use an outbound personalized outreach? So the goal is always in Connect, establish efficiency, scalability in lead generation. What we figured out, you see here the numbers, traditional sales tactics dominate still, but they are really resource heavy. So inbound supported outbound is the most efficient strategy after that. Inbound-led outbound is a term which came up lately, pretty popular, at least in those social media or LinkedIn streams. And then last but not least, pure inbound and pure outbound are less effective alone. We don't have a comparison to the numbers before, but we were really impressed by this rank order. The key takeaway we have is like if you combine inbound and outbound for scalable pipeline growth, that's the way to go today. Then we go, the next step is about engagement. This is the second part in this journey. There, the average score was only 40% from 100 possible points. And we have there the definition of engagement means lead nurturing. So it means what you once generated needs to be maintained, needs to be building trust and personalized. And so this lead nurturing process is the focus, but it also includes like follow-ups. It means personalized messaging and thought leadership content if you look at LinkedIn or other channels. The goal of this dimension is strengthen relationship and maintain consistent engagement. And we figured out that, yeah, lead nurturing is pretty weak, is especially in personalization and relationship building. There's a bit of automated nudging, 110 respondents doing that, or personalized emails, 101 are doing that. And the most used engagement tactics are just this one, while digital approaches like newsletter or LinkedIn outperform these traditional methods like trade show and events compared to what we had before. Yeah, key takeaways: prioritize automated personalized engagement to try to stay in the loop to follow up with them. Number 3, that was the growing part. The growing is the last part where you finally convert the lead into a meeting. You score the lead, so it's the focus on data-driven lead scoring and prioritization. So who do you need to focus on? It includes also intent signals, buying signals. It includes AI-powered predictive models. It includes CRM enrichment procedures with the goal to optimize resource allocation to your sales reps by targeting the high potential leads only. So lead scoring, in other words, is the main goal. What we figured out is that it's still done really, really manually. So mostly manual and also with limited data-driven approaches. So there is not so many companies, only 41, who use intent data when they qualify leads. Many companies don't analyze lead signals at all. The 19 said that. And AI-driven lead scoring is a really untapped opportunity. So there's almost no company really going into that. Key takeaway: automate lead prioritization with AI might be a reason to scale efficiently. I will show an exact example in a minute after we presented these results. Then we have number 4, people. We have the definition of what is people. So it's about having sales procedures, processes, having sales assets, having training programs, but it also includes like having a clear sales playbook, having like for each part of the sales process defined documentation, having like continuous coaching and the team alignment internal in your company. The goal is to improve consistency and figure out the weighted deal pipeline when the deal closure rates are coming in more consistently. We figured out that the sales team lacks structured closing strategies. We figured out that buyer persona 75 and positioning 68 are well defined, but execution is a bit the problem. And if you use sales methodologies like BANT or MEDIC and or structured buyer journeys, so not so many, like only 19 or 29 companies are using that. The key takeaway is strengthen the process, and driven sales execution to close deals faster would be much, much more important in the more complex world today. The average score is 48% from 100. All right, we are going to the second last one. It's technology. And technology we define as the focus on it's the utilization of your CRM system as the backbone for the sales workflow. It includes the CRM integration, and yeah, it also includes development resources to really map the buyer journey and to automate these insights, these reports. The goal is usually increasing efficiency by making the CRM like decentralized sales master, the sales engine. We figured out that CRMs are underutilized, like mainly used for contact management. Most of them are just using it for contact management and second deal tracking, and not so many for KPI reporting, only 62, and buyer or complete buyer journey mapping, 61. This is still a less common function which is lived in the companies. Key takeaway, yeah, we think leveraging the CRM fully for insights, automations, and sales efficiency is really key. And then last but not least, the process. This is the last dimension we analyzed and asked questions. We define process as the part where it's about the automation and workflows which are currently in place. It's AI use cases which are in place. It includes hyper-personalization. It includes call analysis in meetings, note takers. It also includes predictive analytics, with the goal to scale more efficiently and to standardize these repetitive tasks, these processes. We have figured out that the AI usage lags, so there is a key opportunity to boost efficiency, especially when it comes to a bit more non-isolated strategy. Some people are doing like isolated use cases. The top one are like personalized recommendations, like based on information they have, they will send an article. Or hyper-personalization, which is like really every email they send is exactly the same. It's exactly the personalized version for the target audience. And call analysis is about 51% using at the moment. Underused tools at the moment are social media sentiments and customer service bots. There are not so many companies really tackling this. The key takeaway, we have that, yeah, these AI-driven tools could be the key to optimize workflows and streamline sales a bit. But all in all, the main takeaways we see for, let's say, tech companies, to summarize now all these slides, is combining inbound and outbound really makes sense. The ones that reported they're doing that, they're having better results. Using AI to define which one to prioritize, that's also the second key takeaway, which we figured out it's important. People are doing it and it works for them. Investing in personalized and automated engagement, that's about the lead nurturing part. Here we don't have proof that it's working better, but we have the message that yes, if you do that, it has an implication on the ROI. That's the question we had behind this. Then stop using the CRM as a digital notebook. Make it your sales engine, your master data machine, and standardize sales processes to improve efficiency or deal conversion. And last but not least, stop building those automation silos. This is something I push a lot. It's not about like having this single use case and then having the feeling like, okay, now I have invested a bit of in personalized emails and now the returns will come. We see that it's about finding a strategy which goes further, which automates not only the pain points, but also brings together something that really makes sense. We compare it like it's like really strategic medium term. It's like you would hire one great freelancer or several great freelancers, but you never will build a team. And everybody knows if you build a team, then it does a great job. And it's not about isolated islands which never come together. Hey, Florian, can you maybe dive a bit into what else is interesting to see in this report? You have a lot of additional content provided. Could you give them a hint what else can be found in the report, and where else do you find additional resources?
Yeah, I'm just trying here to share my screen. Do you see that already?
Yes.
So you see my
No.
screen? No?
Now, before I did, you have to try again. I just disappeared again.
All right. Let me do this. You see it now?
No.
All right. It should actually just appear. Apparently loading here. Maybe this was a bit of an overkill, I think. Let's try again. Share. Okay. Entire screen. Now, do you see it?
Yeah.
All right. So let me jump here, move that away, and here open the report. So that was the first part of the report where we benchmarked. Now in the second part, we thought, yeah, okay, now we know how companies score in the benchmark, but how can they now boost their score? And that's what the second part is all about. I will just very briefly walk you through the content. It's structured again along the dimensions Marc mentioned. So connect, how do you build a rock solid ICP or improve it, sharpen it, and so on. How do you get to the buyer persona and nail that? Then how do you find your total addressable market? What are important considerations when sourcing that, and how to build an account database? Then much to the operationalization of a all-bound engine. And then with Engage, we go deep on how do you craft a sales story, what's the questions you have to ask yourself, and so on. That ranges from problem, task, activities the buyer persona has, but also range to how do you actually create a really convincing testimonial case study. More to that a little bit later in the AI use case part. Then we continue, how do you organize virtual events, create content. On the grow part, we go deep on what type of data providers are there, what kind of signals can you leverage nowadays, and what tools are out there to leverage these signals. We heard it from Manuel, right? AI can just destroy a lot of trust when used not appropriately. We'll have a look at the AI use case a bit later, but use these triggers and signals really wisely. Don't just spam through your total addressable market. So for every dimension, we go really deep and give guides, tips, and tricks and best practices how you can boost essentially the dimension. Yeah, I'm scrolling and scrolling. It has almost no end, but I think there you have it. For now, that's enough. First part is the benchmark. Second part, we have hands-on guidelines, tips and tricks how you can improve the benchmark and boost that. So with that, back to you.
Thank you. Hey, perfect. I would like to hand over to the AI use cases. But before we do that, I have a quick poll. I would like to ask you to see if you're still awake and to see where you have your biggest challenge right now. So I'm starting the poll. Let me know if you already see it. You could now click the topic and it should sum up in a minute when you decide what you think is currently your biggest challenge. And least it works. We have the one vote here, and it's about building a clear sales and strategy that converts. It's about aligning sales team efficiently. It's about implementing marketing automation that actually works, or prioritizing features with limited resources in terms of product management for building the sales stack. Yeah, so we have currently the implementing automation that actually works as the winning part. And then I would slowly move over to the AI use case where I show a very concrete case I'm applying today. So if I hand over and delete, here we go. Here we have a sales strategy, and when I pointed out before, hey, it's not really about an isolated use case, and also you struggle with the implementation of these automated use cases. What I would like to point out is it's not about automating one isolated automation use case. It's really about, hey, what can you do in sales to make it efficient in the long run? As I said, the example, it's not like building, like finding a few great freelancers. It's about building a team with great people that they play together, and it in the end has bigger results. What you see here should show like the sales pipeline, the funnel. Manuel and Florian know winning by design by heart, and representing also this kind of frameworks. It's really close to that one. You know, it's like those phases where your leads are on the buyer journey. But what I would like to show is in the beginning of the journey, you have the possibility to have 1, 2, 3, in our case, sources. And what we have for our company right now is we really rely on the referrals and the network. I mean, CREATEQ exists since almost 30 years, and there's a lot of networking and referrals which are the main driver, but we also assisted with doing events, and that would be the physical part which you saw in the stats, which is still a very reasonable and good working case. But I would like to show you how we set up now the inbound led outbound and the LinkedIn monitoring. So maybe I start with the LinkedIn monitoring part to show what's possible today. If I'm sharing here the dashboard of Ample Market. I'm not sure if you can see it. Can you see it already? Yeah. We have here the possibility to monitor LinkedIn. And this is for me a very important tool to understand that we are looking out into the noise of LinkedIn and find the right relevant information, which is for us as a case really important. So meaning if the company has new followers, we have about 20,000 LinkedIn followers. And if there is someone new coming, which fits in our ICP and buyer persona, I can do something out of it. Or if there are people having job openings with software engineers, or if they post about competitors or with competitors, or if they post from thought leaders, or if there is product management, the topic in the post, or if they're visiting my profile, or if our customers or others are changing the job, I have it here, which I can, or I have it monitored. And here it's very simple. I can see like, hey, followers of the example, the company, if they're, and they can make some advanced AI prompts to finally also create text. I currently only use it to push the contact enriched to the next step, which I'm showing. But here I also define like who is the target audience, which is clearly like about company size. It's really about the location. It's about the interest. So we can go quite deep into those filters. We lay over the whole company for us, because if it's a software engineer, which mostly are from our CREATEQ profile, then we have the problem that it's maybe not the decision maker we are talking to. So this is important for us to filter who is actually important. And then I can distribute to team members. I can distribute to a round robin. This is the possibility we have with ample market right now. What we do then, and here's maybe the switch I can do to go back to the slide. We can then push them forward to Clay. And here is the example of Clay, which you should be seeing now. And with this example, I have the possibility to really move from a new entry, like let's say it's a new contact in the LinkedIn space, which are following the company or my profile. Then I can enrich this contact. I can analyze this person about the LinkedIn profile. I can then dive deeper into maybe I add this lead to an email sequence, or here the tool I would like to show is Train. Was developed over the last years quite a lot. The founder is a really cool guy who actually managed to write with LLM prompts like a human being, and this is the main case. So he tries to write based on the information we have from a person. He tries, and the trigger we have, and then he writes basically full emails, which is nowadays not possible, and it sounds always really, really awkward. But with the help of Train AI, we figured out quite some ways of doing it nicely. And just some examples, then we generate like the messages here. It's the full email. We could then go to push to, in our case, instantly to other campaigns. And then we have the possibility to not only monitor, but also push forward the solution we have here with the integrated whole strategy. I'm just showing again the slide I had before from where it goes to strategy. Just give me a second to have it back. Okay, so the next step here is then we define what gets the information. The information this user is getting is like what kind of lead magnet or content piece this person gets, and in the end also about how to process one to the next discovery call, because it's only about 1 to 3% which is ready to buy and gets a sales pitch. The other ones only get the narrative about nurturing, about the important stuff for them. And only a few, 1 to 3%, will be asked a question, hey, do you think it's time for a discovery call? Let's sit together. It's just set up now, and we have the first results, which are really promising. But I mean, of course, you want to have the conversion rates, which today I have to rely on those numbers we have down here. But I will definitely share them in the next months when we have a very basis and a good foundation of a working process. At this time, this implementation just started to work. And with that use case, I leave you over to Manuel and would like to ask him to present like another use case which they see works really well in the industry.
I will jump here in before Manuel joins. Manuel, can you mute yourself? That would be amazing. All right. Yes, I mean, we see many use cases. I tried to structure them along, let me just share here the screen again, along a sales funnel as well. There we go. Share screen. Do you see my screen now? Yes, there we go. So we try to structure the use cases along a sales and marketing funnel. But before that, I'd like to make a step back because Manuel mentioned, hey, one, AI can destroy a lot of trust, and Marc said, hey, it's important to connect systems. And a third point I want to mention, and I think is important in the discussion, is that adoption is really not there where it could be, right? I mean, you see here a McKinsey study saying or survey saying, hey, only 20% is actually having fully implemented generative AI, whatever that means. This study is 10 months old, so it's ancient, basically ancient in the AI world, but still in our daily practice, we see similar things, right? Some of our clients, they're very, very, very advanced. They have implemented, automated a lot of AI. Others, they're not using the basics. So the gap is huge. So just to make a step back to where we stand. And then a second point that ties into what Marc mentioned. I think it's important to not only try to make people better with AI, but make the process better. The scalability comes from when you make the process better. You fix the process problem, and that sometimes means you have to replace people, right? One example at SalesPlaybook is, for example, we had a process of case study creation that started with the person recording it, then it went to the copywriter, then it went to a person who recycled the assets, made LinkedIn posts out of it, and so on. And now we cut out the middle part, which basically now we record the case study, we send it into our LLM, and that we trained with previous case studies how we like the copy to be. The output is the finished case studies with recycled other assets, social media posts, and the exact parameters that need to go to the website. So if you manage to improve the process, you get so much more scalability. Now to the use cases. I will briefly walk you through some of the use cases along a sales funnel, and then Manuel and me will go into one or two of them and dive deep and just show you it in action. So starting with awareness, content recycling, I mentioned lead research is another one, and I'm aware some of them they are a bit in a silo. Some of them you can connect. Some of them are not exactly only in that life cycle stage here in the funnel, but they span across many. Lead research. Often when you go into new market segments, you don't understand the market, you don't understand the buyer personas that well, or you consult in a new market, or you run the expansion. That's so valuable to understand what's the buyer persona's problem in that industry. What are the costs of inaction for them not to implement your solution or a similar solution? Then hyper-personalization. I think that one, you have to get it really right. So it's not hyper-personal. I get a lot of poems sent to me, which are really hyper-personalized to me. Nice, but I'm not interested, right? Relevancy is always more important than hyper-personalization. So go first for relevancy and then try to make it really personalized. Twain is one of the tools you can use that Marc showed. Lead scoring and signal scoring, I think they're pretty self-explanatory. I'll show one little example about that as well. Case study production, I mentioned. Cost of inaction, I mentioned. Then this qualification, there's actually a really nice use case. If you have a lot of cold calling, you have a team of, let's say, 10, 20 SDRs, they cold call. And you can train your LLM on the transcripts of the cold call to send you alerts if in the cold calls certain things are mentioned. For example, hey, yes, happy to take the call, but honestly, we trust the system, and I'm kind of taking the call for you, right? That should actually alert then the AE, hey, the person is probably not a fit to invest 45 minutes. Please review and make a final decision whether you invest the 30 minutes of preparation and the 45 minutes for the call. Then mutual commit, execution schedule plans and quote generation are so helpful. When you have the entire context, you know how the typical execution plan looks like, and then you customize it with help of AI for your customer. Onboarding GPTs, I put them here, but often as a sales leader or as any leader, you get, when you onboard somebody, the same questions again and again. And if you leave the company, right, the knowledge does not accumulate, but it dissipates. And you can train a GPT very easily on the most important questions. So somebody can just ask the question to GPT, learn with it, and that's huge leverage to speed up onboarding. Same goes also for role plays. If you have SDRs and they have never done cold calling before, either you do all the training or your manager does all the training with them, right? Or you say, hey, we train the model on the best sales calls, the worst sales calls, the sales methodology we run our sales calls through, and you let them train with the AI. So so first results there are actually quite promising. I tested a few out myself. I think it's still a way to go, but if you want to nail the basics, I think you save so much time, and people actually get really challenged by the AI in the sales call. Health score, for retention, right? You can merge various signals and let the AI decide, hey, do we have to take action here? Does the CEO has to call the other CEO and get things right? And then score job alerts. That's an example I actually would like to briefly show. Marc mentioned it just before. Hey, CREATEQ grows a lot with network, with referrals, and so on. And I think that's so important in today's time when spam and cold outbound returns drive towards zero, right? Because everybody is doing it. The inboxes are getting spammed. But with AI and automation, you can do a lot on market awareness and where your network is expanding. For example, let me show you here a very simple demo example. I have here few accounts, right, which I'm interested to get into. And I can now say, hey, look, please, every time a buyer persona that is an ICP buyer's persona of mine, please ping me, let me know, hey, I maybe have to, so I can reach out to them, right? So what this table does now is it says, hey, here, Nokia is one of my accounts I want to get into, and there they have a new people partner. Now, it's nice to know, right? But the table does also the following. It also checks now, hey, is the people partner which came up here in my automation, is it actually somebody I should reach out to based on my business model, based on my offering, and based on the title of that person? Is that actually buyer persona? The model tells no. I taught the model that, and for others which are more senior, you see here other job titles, CEOs, CIOs, it's a yes, right? So that's how you can kind of monitor your market, and you can also do that the other way around, and that's where the network and the trust comes in. You can monitor all your champions, all your buyer personas, that you have at the moment close ties with, that you have warm relationships with, and every time they change jobs, so they maybe change jobs from one account into the other account, which is interesting for you, or they switch departments, or they get promoted. Each time that happens, you get a notification. You can let the AI check, hey, is that a relevant change for our company? Should I start engaging with them or not? So it's a very powerful use case to leverage your current network and relationships. I'd like to present one more use case. Manuel, over to you for the cost of inactions.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yes, one interesting thing we've seen, and we asked for a long time, actually, founders and like sales leaders, and it's like, hey, what's the cost of inaction of your target buyer not taking purchase decision today because you just told me you want to close a deal in Q1 2025? And the answer very often is, I don't know. I was like, so, but if I'm a buyer right now and I operated this way for like 2, 5, 10 years, why should I change now? Because change is risk, and risk is dangerous, and I hate dangerous things. I want to keep my job. And what they actually did to fix this basically was create the cost of inaction GPT and go really hands-on and say, like, just click a button, tell me the name of the target account, your company, your solution category. And I could, for example, try to say, like, look, Magnolia here is actually, Magnolia CMS is a target account of HubSpot. So this is my target account is Magnolia. Then I would like to tell them HubSpot in terms of like, okay, let's take HubSpot.com. And the category is actually CRM, pretty simple. And there was like expensive enterprise CRM like Salesforce, wasting too much money for too little adoption. So, and I can then simply press enter, and it gives me the whole cost of inaction pitch for the specific company, and it gives me cost factors of inaction per month in Swiss francs, right? Very often people argue in sales pitches like, hey, it's like 60% of IT costs. Like, well, how much is IT costs, right? And it gives me things like, hey, it's going to be better, like it's going to be high quality and so on. So this here gives me like a pretty exact costs of inaction estimate of like 60K a month. So if somebody tells you like, hey, let's just talk next month or so, like for sure, that's like 58K leaving the bank that don't need to, right? I can then go in and say, like, let's leverage something else. Please build a sales pitch leveraging our testimonial GPT to craft a one-page pitch to the CEO. And then, so you can combine several GPTs together, right? And it's like, okay, it writes it for you, right? It actually puts together like a fairly good, like not cold email in terms of brevity, but it's actually like really specific around like problem, solution, impact, and so on. And this would be something that you can give your salesperson just like within like 2 minutes when they go into a pitch here, and they can pretty much read from that, right? Like early on, it was really hard to create a similar sales script and so on. And like a rep, like a 20-year-old, like without prior experience, could read the thing, and it would be better than the average sales pitch. And you can do this endlessly, right? And like go deeper on like for a specific person, what's in for you, and so on. That's just like a very simple example with some customization, how you can create value here on messaging. And with that, back to you, Flo.
Yeah, we are already almost through. Marc.
Yeah, thank you for this really nice views. And I would say we just quickly do 1-2 questions before we hand over. I have there the poll, which I'm activating now, so you can answer the question, where does your team feel stuck the most? It's about generating leads, it's about personalizing outreach, it's about turning interest into paying customers, or scaling workflows and tech to finally support the limited resources. Now, before we have like everybody on the stage again, now I ask the expert sessions. I would really like that also Valentin, who was a big part of the whole benchmark study, that we also have one question maybe to start and maybe another one, and then we can also close quite soon. But here we go. I would say it is super interesting how product management and sales is connected. And maybe Valentin, you could point out a bit what this would really mean. I mean, do you see any relation, convergence, overlap of product management and sales?
Of course. So basically, people buy a product at the end and they want to know if the product solves their problem. And so it starts as well that basically when you build a product, that this ICP you're selling to is as well the ICP in the product, or if that's also the user, and that it all matches up. Otherwise, you have this huge expectation gap between what sales is telling you and then what the user experience is actually solving for you. So, and in reality, that usually happens at the beginning when you create a new product, because the founder is doing sales, but is also very heavily involved into product management. But over time, that you see more and more that there's often a separation, because you have product teams and they work with the developers, and if they're great, then they do a lot of user research. But often user research is cumbersome, it's difficult, and sales is selling somewhat, and so you see a bigger separation of those. And especially now where I work with a lot of older systems, which are 10-year plus old, and many startups are that way, you sometimes see a separation, right? And that is core, that kind of like, can you align those two things, that you market and sell in the same way what your product is solving? And the other part is probably when you think of product-led growth, right? Where you feel like, hey, if you don't have to demo and stuff, or if you actually, people can experience your product early on and actually try it out, and for a long time that was the dream, that would be very product management related, because product basically builds that product-led experience, product-led growth experience. But often the question is it even feasible? Is your product positioned for being able to kind of like self-learn, or if it's in a way built up that it's simple experience is possible? ChatGPT is very easy to experience. You ask anything, you get a pretty smart answer. Most tools need quite a high level of sophistication that they actually add value, are not just replaced. So I think there it's critical that product is very close to sales or the end client, and that there's an alignment between the person who uses the product or bought the product and what the experience is actually delivering.
Thank you very much. Hey, cool point. Hey, by the way, really nice camera.
iPhone.
iPhone. Hey, and for the rest, I think we can close with the last question. And I think it goes to SalesPlaybook. So what's the most common mistake you see B2B companies are making with their CRM setup? I mean, is there a simple fix? Maybe that's the last question before we close the session.
Yeah, happy to take this one. I think the biggest mistake in CRM is investing too much in tech and too little in adoption and making it work for you, right? So people buy Salesforce and they buy part on top of it for marketing, and they buy Gainsight for customer success, and then they buy like 10 tools on top of that with 6 Sense and Apollo and whatever. And nobody really knows how to use it. Nobody knows what it does. Somebody had the smart idea to have like 53 form fields, which everybody needs to fill out to close like a 1K deal. So how can you fix it? To the second part, like do it very focused, right? Like, I mean, do like one sales pipeline in the beginning, like have like 2 must-have fields per stage, have like 5 stages instead of 15. Start with like having your calendar and your quotes and so on all in HubSpot pretty much, like instead of having 7 disparate tools, and invest a lot into like the buyer journey and adoption and knowledge transfer in your team, and like why CRM matters. So like basically teaching and educating people of like why the CRM works for the team and not the other way around. So that would be the short answer to that.
Thank you very much. Hey, and then I would say with that one, we just invite you for the upcoming webinar, Scaling AI in Finance, where we meet with Squiro. You find the stuff on our website, CREATEQ.com. And if you need help with SalesPlaybook, Google it, you find us, post us, or like message us on LinkedIn. Really looking forward to hear from you, and thanks for attending. Have a really nice afternoon. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thanks so much. Bye bye.
Bye bye, everyone.